book lovers, it is G-Swiss here, and I'm here today to talk about the books and series I would like to complete by the end of the year. If you didn't know, this is a 7 on Sunday topic, and I'm the host of 7 on Sunday. I will link the Goodreads page down in the description where you can check it out and you can participate in a topic in the future, or you can suggest a topic. And being that we've officially made it to the second part of the year, it's about time that we start making the lists and the goals in order to either keep the momentum up or pick it up. And some of the books / series that I've selected for this list today directly respond to some sort of challenges that I have either put on myself or someone has put on to me. I mean, I've got the 12 friends recommend me 12 books challenge. I'll also be talking about some books I selected for the Pop Sugar reading challenge for 2023, because when I discovered the prompts in April of this year, because sometimes I look at them late and I just want to see how many I've completed. I've never completed a Pop Sugar reading challenge, but so far as I'm filming this video, I have completed 32 of those prompts already, and I only have 18 prompts left to complete. So I'm just wondering whether or not it's worth it. I do have a book to cover each prompt, so I think it is doable. However, being motivated to do it while I'm continuously going on in the reading year, that's a whole nother situation entirely. We will see how I go with that, but I will be really proud of myself if I had at least completed the Pop Sugar reading challenge at least once in my life. So I'm wondering whether or not to pursue it. That being said, a few of the books that I've placed on this TBR, I've specifically put on this TBR to cover a challenge prompt. And then there are just some books / series in general that I just see myself completing in 2023, and I want to read them before my favorite books of 2023 video comes out, because I can definitely see a couple of series being my favorites for the year out of the books that I've read so far. However, I don't think we're done yet. I think I need to find a few more favorites, because selecting 23 favorites for 23, because that's what I do, selecting a top 23 book / series that I read in 2023 is going to be hard if I don't try my best to find new favorites. I mean, I could complete all these reading challenges and feel a sense of accomplishment there, but I also want to be able to enjoy my year. We're gonna try to make everything happen this year. I mean, I'm trying not to put pressure on myself. The way that I'm speaking can form unhealthy reading habits. I totally understand that. I acknowledge that right now. But this is my own reading life. I'm just gonna do what I want. I literally never let anyone tell me what to do. However, I tell myself what to do a lot, and I just put too much pressure on myself. I guess without further ado, let's get straight into the book / series that I would like to complete before the end of the year. Pretty much a mid-year check-in. So first off, I would like to bring 2 book series up at the same time, because I have mentioned on my channel countless times that I want to start and finish these 2 series. I believe that both series are gonna be like 5-star predictions. I have somewhat disappointed myself with my 5-star predictions TBR this year. Some of the books on that TBR did not end up being 5 out of 5 stars, but you know what? I hope that changes, because I still have faith in Stacey Marie Brown and Carissa Broadbent to deliver. So these 2 series, Savage Lands and Daughter of No Worlds, I've wanted to read for quite some time. Savage Lands I've wanted to read for much longer, whereas Daughter of No Worlds, I heard about it sometime early last year, and no, I won't stop talking about them on my channel. I put them on like every TBR because I just have a feeling that both of them are going to be some favorites of mine. Like, I really believe that both these authors will deliver. I don't know if they will deliver on a similar level or different levels. I just hear great things about these books from reviewers I trust. And I am even more motivated to read something by Carissa Broadbent because my friends keep on hyping up Serpent and the Wings of Night. I am being asked by my work colleagues every week, have I read it yet? And I have made my intentions clear. I've told them I'm gonna read the War of Lost Hearts series first before going into The Serpent and the Wings of Night, and they tell me that that's not good enough. And I tell them, you know what? I need to read a backlist, okay? Backlists are my thing. Leave me alone. I mean, the same cannot be said for Stacey Marie Brown's backlist, and I think it's because I just haven't purchased Stacey Marie Brown's backlist. So yeah, in a way, I'm being a hypocrite because I am committing to Carissa Broadbent's backlist, but I'm not committing to Stacey Marie Brown's. I need to change that because I hear great things about the other books that are set in this world as well. I've essentially brought these 2 up together because I put these in many series TBRs. I'm pretty sure I even put Savage Lands and the Savage Lands series in end of year TBRs for last year as well, because I wanted to read it before my top 22 books of 2022. So that is how I know that this is just getting ridiculous. It is getting out of hand. I am probably dooming this book series for myself because I am holding off from reading it. because I have high expectations for it. So yeah, I'm just mentioning these two together because I've just mentioned them a lot on my channel, and I'm hoping that at some point I will stop putting them on TBR videos and I will put them in a wrap-up video, maybe, or maybe a favorites video. We will see. And speaking of book recommendations from my work colleagues, the 12 Friends Recommend Me 12 Books challenge, I'm still going on with it, and I essentially kind of doomed myself by asking for these recommendations and not specifying what my favorite genres are. I mean, I did this on purpose because I wanted to read broadly. However, I've noticed that a lot of the books that were selected are just very dense. They're very long, like The Lies of Locke Lamora, Ashes of the Sun. What else was on this list? I'm not able to recall. Oh, I also have The Secret History by Donna Tartt as well. And with The Secret History, I'm not necessarily intimidated by its length. Rather, I'm intimidated because I have heard previously that Donna Tartt is a problematic author, or they just have like problematic works. I believe that The Goldfinch was one of them. Look, I barely know anything about Donna Tartt. However, my friend recommended this book because it is their favorite book of all time. So I'm just going to give that a try. I also hear that it is very hyped as well. And honestly, as much as dark academia has an aesthetic, and the aesthetic is kind of cool, it's not necessarily something that I reach for all the time. So I will see how I go with The Secret History. I have a few intimidating books on the 12 Friends Recommend Me 12 Books challenge. However, speaking of thick and intimidating books, one of the Pop Sugar reading challenges is to read the largest book on your TBR. And I'm not including any Brando Sando, and the reason why I'm not including any Brando Sando is because I don't consider his Stormlight Archive books to be my immediate TBR. They are books that I am reserving for the future when we are much closer to seeing that series be complete, because honestly, I cannot do that to myself right now. Stormlight is definitely not on my 2023 TBR due to its sheer volume and due to the sheer volume of the books that I have challenged myself to read. However, in terms of my immediate TBR, the largest book I have on there is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. So when I was doing my big book TBR earlier on this year, I had discovered that The Priory of the Orange Tree is the largest book on my current TBR. So I do want to get to it. And yes, I have mentioned this previously, but I will mention it again in case you are new. I've actually attempted to read this book. I think I read it completely 4 or 5 years ago when it first came out, but I skim read the entire thing because I was just trying to challenge myself to read it, and I just really could not engage myself in it. And that is terrible because I just know that it would have totally been worth the ride if I was invested. And you know what? I'm actually much more intrigued in this book because I heard Samantha Shannon talk about it recently when she came to visit Australia and she came to visit Kinnikinnia, and she was going in depth about this world, and I'm much more interested in it now. So I'm hoping that due to my reading tastes maturing, that I will be much more engaged reading The Priory of the Orange Tree. I mean, I would definitely see completing this book as a personal accomplishment regardless. However, I'm even more motivated to get to it because I want to complete a Pop Sugar challenge at least once in my life. So I want to complete the reading challenge by reading The Priory of the Orange Tree. I'm gonna give it a shot and we will see how I go. There's also a Pop Sugar reading challenge prompt to read a book that is based on a popular movie. And I have so many fairy tale reimaginings. Technically, as I'm filming this video right now, I have completed A Ruin of Roses, which would have completed this prompt. However, I wanted to choose as many different books for different prompts as possible because as much as I could double up on the prompts, I want to read a bit more broadly. I mean, there are a few exceptions to that. The Secret History by Donna Tartt, I believe, is going to cover 2 challenges. It's going to cover a book that was set in the decade that you were born and a book with just text on the cover. I have doubled up there. However, I'm trying to avoid doubling up where possible. So for this one, I've decided to go with A Taste of Poison by Tessandra Odette. And A Taste of Poison is based on Snow White. So I mean, technically it's based on a fairy tale, but I mean, I can't say that it's not based on Snow White, the popular movie, you know? So I'm including it here as the book that is going to complete the prompt. But also, honestly, I just want motivation to pick A Taste of Poison up because as much as I had been excited to pick A Taste of Poison up, I've also been nervous about it because I did not love the previous book in the Entangled with Fae series as much. Therefore, I have just been hesitant when it comes to A Taste of Poison. So I really want that to change. I really just want to pick this book up, and I just really hope that I'm surprised by it because as much as I did kind of enjoy Kiss of the Selkie, it was not my favorite Little Mermaid reimagining, and it was probably my least favorite book in the series. And I don't want to be turned off from the series because I loved the first two books so much. So I'm really hoping that the Snow White reimagining will be good. I am essentially pushing myself to read it because of the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge. And another 2023 Pop Sugar Reading Challenge prompt is to read a book that you got secondhand. I believe the only book that is on my TBR that just so happens to be a book that I got secondhand is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. This is the Fairy Loot exclusive edition. I purchased it secondhand because it's probably one of the most beautiful special editions I've ever seen. It's just so beautiful. I love this pink and I love this design. I love the pages, and oh my goodness, the end pages are gorgeous. But not only that, the reverse dust jacket is just beautiful. I have never read the series. I read the Caraval series and I did not like the Caraval series as much, and I'm really hoping that I like this spin-off series because, oh my goodness, I really did not like Caraval. Caraval is one of the worst young adult series that I've ever read in my personal opinion, and I know not everyone agrees with my opinion. I know that it is the favorite of many, but my opinions on Caraval are actually pretty similar to Reads by Rachel's opinions on Caraval. And I have purposefully not watched their Once Upon a Broken Heart review because I want to go into this not knowing much. I mean, I know the backstory of like what happens to Jackson stuff, but I'm really hoping that I enjoy this for myself. And this is the perfect time. I know I've been talking about reading this book for a while, but this year I want to read it specifically because the final book comes out. So I personally think that this is doable. I'm gonna try my best. I did put it on a 5-star predictions TBR, and I'm wondering whether or not that was a mistake because I've read Caraval and Caraval was nowhere even near 4 stars for me. I'm gonna go into it with really low expectations and we will see where that takes me. Enough about the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge now. I'm just gonna go into some books that I just want to complete by the end of the year. No challenge involved, really. I do want to reread A Light in the Flame by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the second book in the Flesh and Fire series. I'm still trying to work out whether or not I am far enough removed from A Shadow in the Ember to revisit it a third time, because as much as I do love A Shadow in the Ember, things really pick up in A Light in the Flame. And I think I'm just even more excited to go into A Light in the Flame knowing what happens in this book. I just really want to revisit this one to kind of recap. I might read A Shadow in the Ember and then read A Light in the Flame to then make my way into A Fire in the Flesh to get the full experience, because that is what I do often. However, I think with the Crave reread that I had, I enjoyed my reread experience of Crave, but considering that I reread Crave, Crush, and Covet like 3 times, I did find myself somewhat mentally exhausted doing so. And like, I know that this is a different situation because this is a trilogy, it's not a 6-book series like Crave is. However, I'm just gonna see where I'm at. But one thing's for sure, I definitely want to revisit A Light in the Flame because I love A Light in the Flame. A Light in the Flame is probably my favorite book by Jennifer L. Armentrout. It is perfect in my opinion. I adore it and I can't wait to revisit it. I can't wait to see Nyktos again. And oh my goodness, the tension between Sarah and Nyktos in this book series is just so perfect. I am nervous about the 3rd book, but I really hope that the 3rd book is epic. But I mean, regardless of how the 3rd book turns out, I will always love the 2nd book, and I just honestly cannot wait to revisit the 2nd book because it is my favorite book by Jennifer L. Armentrout. And the next book I would like to complete by the end of the year is The Savage and the Swan by Ella Fields. I loved Kingdom of Villains by Ella Fields, and I want to read at least one more thing before the end of the year. I really want to revisit her writing because, in my personal opinion, Ella Fields is underrated. I was not seeing enough buzz for Kingdom of Villains, and when I finally read it, I was like, oh my goodness, this is incredible. So many people are sleeping on this. And I know that The Savage and the Swan is technically their most popular series at the moment, but I still kind of want to give it the hype that it deserves. We will see whether or not I like it or whether I prefer it over Kingdom of Villains. I'll find out eventually, but I kind of have a feeling that it's going to be a new favorite. And I mean, that feeling is kind of a little strong considering that I purchased the Fake Rate special edition of this book and the 2nd book in the companion series as well. So yeah, the fact that I did that, the fact that I forked out some cash to purchase the books in the series, I don't know if that's ridiculous or if that was a really good choice, but I have a feeling that it was a good choice because I loved Kingdom of Villains and I hear great things about this one. So I hope that this one delivers on the level that I expect it to deliver. And the next book I would like to complete by the end of the year is actually a book that I was was wanting to read in the lead up to Babe, and then the author dropped out of Babe, and I was kind of devastated about that because I really wanted to meet Savvar Miller, and I wanted to read Promises and Pomegranates before Babe. However, I essentially took it off my TBR when Savvar Miller announced that they were not going to attend Babe. I've heard really good things about the series, and I mean, the covers are stunning, but I also heard that the final book in the series comes out this year. You know what? I could be wrong. Maybe there are more books to come out in the series, but I believe that Liars and Liaisons is the final book in the series, and I only have the personal feeling about that because Faye Crate agreed to do a 6-book set for it, so for some reason I have a feeling that Liars and Liaisons is the final book. Because of my theory of this series being completed in 2023, I want to prioritize it. I want to read it. I want to finally get to this book series, knowing that the end has either arrived or it's somewhere in sight. The first book I'm holding up, Promises and Pomegranates, is a Hades and Persephone reimagining, but I believe that it is a mafia romance. I know that mafia romances are extreme for some, but I kind of really like them. And look, I blame Yakuza Lover for that. I cannot wait to read the series, see how I go with it, and I really hope that I love it just as much as the rest of the dark romance community. And the final book slash series that I would like to complete by the end of the year, providing that the final book is definitely coming out in December, is the Plated Prisoner series by Raven Kennedy. Here I'm holding up Glint because this is the second book in the series, and I'm pretty sure some of you guys already know this. However, in case you don't, I've only read the first book in this series, and I purposefully chose to hold the rest of the series off until we got closer to the final book because I just had a feeling, based on witnessing the protagonist's tragic backstory, that I was going to be in for a ride. I was going to be in for some sort of healing journey. I was going to be in for some sort of healing romance, and you know what? I am hearing so far that this series is delivering. However, I have heard that Glow has the worst cliffhanger ever. As soon as I heard that, I just knew that I needed a special time to read the series. I needed time to just binge this series in the lead up to its finale. I could have done what I have done with Crave and with From Blood and Ash. I could have just read the books as they came out and then reread them to recap myself. I don't mind doing that. However, I think with the Plated Prisoner series, it just seems like a very heavy series that I don't know if I want to put myself through it year after year due to how much the protagonist and the characters around her go through. The first book was really hard for me to read. I don't know if I can bring myself to reread it even 2 years later. And I'm not saying that this series is not going to be a rereadable series. Maybe I'm going to find it rereadable eventually. However, I am scared to dive into it now because I know that the series is really heavy and the first book was really hard to read. Eventually, it might just be a really rereadable series for me and it will be a comfort series for me. I am hoping that that is the case because I've heard great things about the series and it is often comped to A Court of Mist and Fury due to its healing journey. I love myself a good healing journey. I just kind of knew based on reading Guild, even though Guild wasn't the best book ever, it was literally a plotless book, but I just knew that Oren was going to be one of my favorite characters throughout the series due to the fact that she is so strong in Guild. Even though she's a little bit brainwashed at the beginning of the series, I just know that her character journey is one to witness. I cannot wait to continue on with the series in the lead up to Gold. I really hope that Gold is good because I have been anticipating the end for the series for the last couple of years because I've just really wanted to read the series all in one go and to experience it in its fullness. So I guess that's gonna be it for this video today, book lovers. If you happen to stay to the end of the video, leave me the red heart emoji. And if you happen to enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet already. Join the amazing community of book lovers. And also, I have social medias. Matt Gswizzle Books on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm also at Goodreads. That's www.goodreads.com/gswizzle. And I'm also at TikTok. I'm at Gswizzle on TikTok if you want to follow me there for some bookish content. I love you, book lovers, and I will see you later. Peace.
Started out with half and I flipped it in a double. Started out with half and I flipped it in a double.